Okay. So she got test results. It's Lyme disease, started treatment, feeling yucky. Have felt yucky for a long time anyway. I'm so sorry. I was talking to someone last night who has been doing all the things for 6 years, and she was like almost cleared and then got a new test and everything had totally, and it's just like the amount of effort we all put into things. So maybe that's what we need to work on. Anybody else, just throw it at me. Because once you're tapping, you're probably going to be pretty relaxed, not want to sit up. Cool. Feeling worthy, deserving of success, major imposter syndrome. There's two of you here. Lots of breakthrough last week for Sarah, then resistance hit like normal. So I'm still fighting. Okay. Go ahead and start tapping on the side of your hand. Hi, Julie. Hi, Mackenzie. Jamie. Awesome. Oh, imposter syndrome. And with all that, you're graduating as a Christian health practitioner. It's amazing. All right, everyone, go ahead, take a nice clean breath in through just relax it out through your mouth. Um, Everybody can kind of pick something else. And if you don't really know what to work on, I would you just kind of feel into your body. A lot of the time, your body's going to tell you what's going on before your mind does. So just take a minute and maybe you can just notice, just what's around you, kind of just check in with maybe the lighting or if you have a breeze or if there's some sounds. Just kind of notice what you notice around you in the room. Eyes open or closed, doesn't matter. Perfect. Sarah, thank you. And just give yourself a little body scan, just kind of checking in head to toe. I don't want you to dismiss anything. I say this a lot because I have to say it a lot. If you always have a headache, don't dismiss it while we're tapping. This is a great opportunity to dial in to that. Like, really check in with that headache. If you're like, oh, I always have a headache, it's totally normal. I'm not going to work on it. I think this is the time to work on it. So just give yourself a full body scan, check with your head, kind of zoom into what you wanted to work on. We've got like maybe unworthy, which has come up a few times. Good, Kate. That's awesome. It's okay to want what I want. No more people pleasing, codependency, fear of judgment, no self sabotage. That's where I'm at. Awesome. Good. Yeah. So when you just think about this, I'm not worthy. Maybe there's something that you really want. Maybe you've been chasing it. Maybe you're like Sarah and had some big breakthrough, and now there's like a little stuck place again. We can all kind of grab onto that. Like, I don't really know if I'm worthy of that. Um, Unworthiness is an interesting word because some people will say they feel unworthy and other people don't have a clue what that even means. It's just not in their nature, their vocabulary. Um, so just really check in with what that means for you. And if it doesn't resonate at all, then just pick something else. But unworthiness, I kind of kept saying we would work on it and we didn't. So maybe this is a good day to do it. And just notice where that shows up, what I am unworthy of. Maybe if that word doesn't resonate, it's undeserving of. You might know you are. Anyone who's new here, this is not a place where we spout off what we know. Um, it's what we feel. So, do you know you're worthy of expanding your business or like being healthy and getting on top of weight loss or whatever it is? Do you know you're worthy of that? Probably. Do you feel worthy of that? Probably not. So I want you to really check in with that feeling in your body and just notice where it shows up. And that's what I want you to do is this is a perfect place where so much causes us to be separated from ourselves, feel separated from others, maybe feel separated from our goals and our dreams. And here, almost without permission at all, you're almost inadvertently forced to love and accept yourself because of the nature of tapping. So, just in this space, what if you could practice being worthy, love and accept yourself, and resist anything that shows up in this space? Because resistance is really where you're going to get those big shifts. Go ahead and come onto the side of your hand. Take a nice clean breath. You girls are more than welcome to unmute, share where you're at, share what changes and moves while we're together. It encourages other girls. If you do choose to unmute, come in quietly and also tell us who you are. Um, but otherwise, you girls can type in the chat as much as you want to, if it's comfortable for you to do that while you without kind of breaking your focus. So take a nice clean breath, check in. I'm undeserving of this thing. Just feeling really undeserving. What's this all about? Take a nice clean breath and just thinking about that thing that you want. You've kind of been working on this. Maybe you even kind of know you deserve it, but you feel undeserving or unworthy. And I want you to feel that, oh man, it's almost, if you think of it as evidence, what's your evidence? And you can repeat after me or just listen along. It just feels like there's all this evidence in my body. Nice deep breath. Just keep your breath going. Let the tapping do the work. There's all this evidence. I can feel it here in my body. I know what I want. I might even know I'm deserving. I've worked for this before. I've gotten there before, but there's just this stuck place. And just take another nice clean breath. And let's just anchor into the safety of the space around you. I'm safe right here. Yeah. Just really lean into the place that you're at. Just letting your body be fully supported. Your mind will give you a lot more information that way. If you worked really hard at this thing, you've put countless hours into it, money you didn't have, time and energy that could have gone elsewhere. Way to really feel that. It's a lot of time spent. Another nice clean breath. Hand inside your eyebrow. You can tap through the points at your comfortable pace. I'm just here as a guide. If I stop tapping, you can always follow someone else or just stay on whatever point I left you on. All right, outside your eye, let's just go through some of this. There's some imposter syndrome. I want you to notice where that comes into play here for you and your unique situation. Maybe it feels like this is for the other girls. Nose. Maybe it feels like you're still a work in progress. You're still struggling with the program you want to help implement for people. Your chin. Who am I? If there's that unworthiness, undeserving. Who am I to show up this way? Your chest. Nice clean breath. Who am I to think I could coach people? Who am I with all of these diagnoses to coach people with their health? Top of your head, who am I to be a personal trainer when I still struggle so much with my own weight? And if this resonates with you, I want you to think about somebody else, maybe that you look up to, somebody who you feel like's really hitting the nail on the head with this one. They're the real deal. They've got it figured out. They're a pro. They make it look easy. Hunt that person down in your mind. And I want you to just notice what you notice about them and how this feels. Under your nose, chin. And I want you to feel that in your body. There's nothing that I want pushed away or shoved down. If you start having something come into your mind's eye or feel it in your body, you're like, whoa, I don't like that. I don't want to look at that. That is kind of like your golden ticket right here. So you can hold it and you can think to yourself, I don't like this and I don't want to look at it and I don't want to talk about it. And that's actually getting some really cool work done around it. I just don't want you to shove anything down or ignore it. Who am I to have what I want? I want what I want. Dear arm, I know what I want. There was a time in my life I didn't even know what I wanted. I remember a time in my life I didn't even know who I was. But now I know who I am, or at least I'm starting to get a pretty good idea. Nice deep breath. And a part of me really knows what I want. And if you were kind of looking at another person who feels like they have it all figured out and you've got this imposter syndrome because you're not as good as them or popular as them or as pretty as them or whatever the case may be, I want you to just continue checking on that person until it feels neutral and irrelevant outside your eye because there's people waiting for you to do exactly what you do under your eye. So now that a part of me knows who I am, Jim knows there's a part of me that doesn't, but there's a part of me that knows who I am. There's a part of me that knows that I want. It's a part of me that knows I deserve what I want. It's a part of me that doesn't believe I deserve what I want. Top of your head. And there's a part of me that feels really overwhelmed thinking about all of this. I want you to just trust yourself. I'm just here as a guide. Listen to your body. Become your own investigator. Become your own best friend in this place. What does my best friend need right now? What's my best friend feeling right now? What's my best friend trying to sort out right now? Inside your eyebrow, your eye. And nice clean breath. And I want you to just notice where this is showing up in your body and what's changed. In your nose. I've done really powerful things before. I've healed before. I've taught before. I've been independent before. You just can't seem to shake this off. your chin. But right here, I'm showing up for myself in a way that nobody else can, and I'm listening. You just listen to your body. Chest. Nice clean breath. Maybe you can check in. What is that thing you want? I'm hoping that as we continue to journey through this together, it starts to feel a little bit closer, maybe more doable, more obtainable. Maybe you start to feel a little bit more worthy of it or deserving of it. Unworthiness is really interesting because some people it just takes them down. And then I know of a gal who's like, oh, yeah, I'm totally unworthy. Um, I'm totally unworthy. And that's okay because God really loves me. Like, I don't feel like I need to be worthy of anything. I'm just unworthy of everything. And she's like one of the most joyful people in the entire world. So, like, that unworthiness is like, yeah, I am. It's fine. Like, it doesn't like touch her. So, what if you're worthy? What if you're not worthy? Can you still want what you want? We've been talking a little bit the last few weeks about your passion and your purpose. Because if you can find your passion, what you're really, really passionate about, like those desires of your heart, you might also then find your purpose. I don't think we're supposed to be passionate. Like, I'm not supposed to be passionate about helping women break through anxiety, but sitting over with my purpose being at a 9 to 5 office job. Like, that doesn't, how am I, that doesn't work. Like, my passion is helping women, like powerful women overcome the like triggers of life. So that's where my purpose is. So, like, really, like, what is your passion? And is this thing that you want in alignment with your passion? Because if it is, it's probably part of your purpose. So whether you're worthy or not, can you chase it down under your arm? So who am I to have what I want? If you can check on that other person right now who has what you want, that makes, something about that makes you feel like you don't deserve it or you're not good enough. Top of your head. Maybe I don't deserve it. So maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I've just wanted it so bad, but I've never actually taken any steps in that direction. So I'm just not going to have it. Maybe it's not about being worthy or not. Maybe it's about putting one foot in front of the other. Maybe I already have and I just feel really tripped up and I'm losing some of my steam. And that's okay. I really honor that part of me right now too. Now, and a couple of you had like a codependency thing. Who would I be without this imposter syndrome? Who would I be if I was independent? Who would I be if I let go of this codependence? Every single one of you can ask this question. Who would I be without this diagnosis? This thing that I want to get rid of or let go of, who would I be? There's a lot of accountability that starts to show up when you think about who you would be without it. Just ask yourself, who would I be without this thing that I think I don't like? Who would I be if I felt worthy? Who would I be if I felt independent? Who would I be if I didn't suffer from imposter syndrome? I want you girls to really dial into that. You've got about 20 minutes of tapping behind you. So your cortisol has dropped significantly. This is a really great place to just lean into your body more and listen to what it's telling you. A lot of thought process is fine. Just notice what feels the most important. Really feel it in your body. Who would I be without this problem? There might be a handful of goals there. Interdependent? Who would you be without this problem? Who would you be if you weren't codependent? Who would you be if you didn't suffer from imposter syndrome? Who would you be if you felt deserving? Who would you be without this diagnosis? Who would you be without this block? I know there's been some money blocks lately. Just tap and breathe. Just really trust your body with this one. Listen to your body. You'll find some truths. I know it. And don't forget to breathe. You want to stay here for a minute. Just notice what you notice. And then I'm going to take you somewhere that I think is heavy but important. Just kind of sit with this. Just notice what you notice. Notice if that initial feeling in your body's lessened or moved. Notice what you're already learning about yourself. Yeah. So all of you just stay right where you're at. Um, Someone said she has arthritis in her hands and it feels like too much. What are her options? So do what feels good. You can press and hold each point if that feels good. Can try that, just gently pressing and holding. You can just, hold like your whole hand kind of over your chest, kind of just, there's 2 points in there. So you can kind of just hold your hand there. You'll be accessing those points and you can just breathe. There's points at kind of in our cuticles on the sides of our fingers, but I don't know if that would be better or worse. Touch those. Yes, just take a nice breath. And I want each of you to just come to the side of your hand right here. And so if you want to, you could almost just like hold the side of your hand. See if that feels a little bit better. It's really just about um, applying gentle pressure to each of the points. Uh, Yeah. Okay, good. Good. So yeah, you can just kind of hold the side of your hand, tap it. Sometimes if I'm being like super lazy, I know you can't see my knee, but like pretend this is my knee. I'll just like tap my hand on my on my leg like this, just to the side of my hand. Just like use whatever you need to kind of access those points if you want to. So I want you guys all take a nice clean breath. I don't know where any of you are at right now. And so groups are my favorite in that we get to actually like really connect. We're all really more similar than we think. But then also it's tricky because I don't get as much dialogue with you as I do in my private sessions that are like very much like a lot of bantering going back and forth. But I trust you with where you're at. So take a nice clean breath in through your nose and blow it out. And one of the basic 101s of tapping is go back to the first time you ever felt this way, or to one of the worst experiences you had when you felt this way. For those of you who don't want to do that, don't do it. I want you to just stay where you were at and stay curious. But for the rest of you, if you think about removing this block, okay, it's probably hard to because it's still there. You can feel it in your body. So we've got this maybe fear, codependency, imposter syndrome, like I'm not good enough, unworthy, undeserving. I want you to weave through time really gently. Okay. This could turn into like a 6 week masterclass because this is really the heart of pulling the roots of tapping. So if you just kind of weave through time and think of your life in regards to this feeling, okay, the people and the circumstances aren't necessarily going to be the same, but the feeling will be. And that's that energy or that frequency, which is actually like a recipe. If you watched my or listened to my course, there's actually like a chemical recipe that's created in your body for each one of your emotions. So there's going to be other times in your life that you've had this feeling in your body. And if you want to be curious about this and really try to pull a root with me right now, then I want you to find a time that feels really um like your body responds to it when you think about it. Maybe your mind really responds to it. If you think to yourself, like, "Oh, that wasn't even that big of a deal. It was only third grade. That one's important because then you're just gaslighting your little tiny third grader. So I want you to just go back and really notice, like, whoa, like, yeah, like that felt really similar to this. And if you feel good about it, grab the biggest or the heaviest time. Like, if it doesn't feel like too big of a trauma in your life to process this alone, the big stuff I want you to bring to me privately. But if there's something you can think of that felt really similar, you could have been 17, you could have been 9, you could have been 4. Maybe there's too many to count, kind of gather them all up and put them in a box together. But I want you to all, if you're doing this, access a time in your life, the earlier, yeah, Sarah, me too. Earlier in life that felt similar. And if it doesn't feel like that big of a deal or important enough, see if you can find another time that actually gives you that little like, ugh, I can really feel this in my body. I'm gonna give you girls all a minute. Just stay on the side of your hand. When as a little girl did you feel this feeling? Not good enough, unworthy, undeserving, blocked, afraid, unsupported. Good. And I want you to pick that time, an earlier time. And you might have not had anything in your childhood or in your younger years, and it's that this problem really showed up in your adulthood. That's okay. Check on that. Maybe it's a new problem. Check on it. If there's a time in your life that you felt similar to this, I want you to really access that. And take a nice clean breath in through your nose and blow it out. And you can repeat after me or just think to yourself, I'm safe right here, even remembering this. Going back to this time in my life when this feeling began or was very big and prevalent, I accept myself right here just staying curious about it. Just thinking about that time, and I want you to really think about that time, and I almost wonder if you can go back there as if you are that girl. Does it feel like you can sit here as her? Kind of thinking as her, sitting as her, being her, just feeling this like, ugh, I just don't know what to do with this. And take a nice clean breath and repeat after me. I'm safe right here, even with this. And inside your eyebrow, outside your eye. And I want you to pull into that event, like chase it down. Don't let it slip away. Our goal is for it to slip away and change and move and become more neutral and get some insight, but not yet. I want you to hold on to it and imagine. I want you to act like it was the most important upset of your entire life. It changed the entire trajectory of where you were headed. And I want you to just feel that feeling and breathe. Nose, chin, chest, nice clean breath. Can almost imagine like we are here together today as this version of you, but we have to go back to that other version of you who may have gotten stuck there that day. And we're kind of just lovingly showing up with her. Nobody else knew what she was experiencing. Nobody else knew what she was feeling. You're literally the only person in the world with the same experience. And I want you to just sit with her, being curious with her about this feeling, just how big that feels in your body, in your arm, top of your head. Under your eye, and don't forget to breathe. Just remembering that version of you that just felt this feeling really big. And my hope for you is if you can kind of feel it in your body as if it's happening all over again, I want you to just assign thoughts and feelings to it. Maybe you can even tell the story to yourself in your head. Or maybe you can just let that little version of you talk to this version of you and say, well, here's what happened, and here's what I was thinking, here's what I was feeling, and here's what so and so said. I want you to really move through that in almost like a conversation with yourself, just being non-judgmental, totally loving and accepting, completely, present with like, yeah, I really remember that. I'm really sorry we went through that. If you don't go back into these original events, you really won't clear these things once and for all. You're going to kind of keep repeating them. Your chin, chest. Side your eyebrow, take a nice breath. If something feels too big, like you feel it in your body, like an 8 out of 10, and you don't like that, I want you to just breathe and just distance yourself a little bit from the memory and just breathe. Just feel that feeling. Just remind yourself you're safe here. You're doing some really important discovery work that no one else can do for you. And these feelings won't last. Usually, once you clear something, it's gone to your nose. So just be patient with yourself with whatever it is. Your nose, chin, and your chest. And your arm, and if you'd like to, you can kind of hold on to that space, just kind of sitting with that younger version of yourself, really like whether we like it or not, we're the same person and we really need each other. And we're the only ones who experience this. And you were just really craving that healthy relationship. Maybe if maybe you really needed to feel worthy and important. So it's all a part of our identities. We all needed that. Not everybody got that. Maybe you needed to feel independent or free. Maybe you needed to be able to share your feelings without someone telling you they were invalid. Maybe you needed that friend to listen. Whatever it is that you needed there. And I want you to just stay sitting with your little person. Who would we be? And I want you to just ask yourself, who would we be without codependency? Who would we be without this imposter syndrome? Who would we be without this diagnosis? Who would we be without this block? And sit with that because the version of you today that wants this isn't wrong at all. And when you think about this thing you want that that little girl probably also wanted, I want you to ask yourself what life would be like if you did have that. What would life be like if I had what I wanted? What would life feel like if I was loved and whole and free and healthy and driven? I want you to really sit together with your person, your best friend. Who would I be with this thing that I'm asking for? You might find a lot of answers in there because oftentimes the things we think we want come with a lot of resistance once we imagine having them. And all of that resistance is exactly what's stopping us from getting it. So, who would I be if I had what I wanted? And you too can kind of dialogue about it. Who would I be? What would life look like? And you can imagine a life with what you want and notice how good that feels. But I also want you to be curious about any resistance that might show up. That resistance is going to be really important here. You might even realize like a part of me feels really good with this thing I want. A part of me really likes it. And the part of me feels like it would actually be too much responsibility and I'm too lazy. And don't forget to breathe. And I want you to really grab onto any goodness, any truths that are showing up, or even if you're having some aha moments, I want you to really grab those. That's what we're looking for here. Is just clearing out the junk and the clutter, jumping over some of those hurdles or just breaking them down and finding some real solid truth. I'm guessing maybe whatever happened when you were younger created a lie that was that you weren't deserving of something that was actually part of just your nature, something that you did deserve, something we were all created for. But because people are stupid, someone got in the way of that. So now what you want today is really just a natural desire that any woman would have in your position. And just notice what you notice there. We've got about 13 minutes. Your cortisol is way down now, maybe up to 85%. So this is a really sweet place to be with your system. If the tapping feels like too much, press and hold, or just let your hands rest. So who would you be if you had this thing you wanted? Who would you be if imposter syndrome couldn't touch you? Who would you be if you didn't have money blocks? How would you navigate life differently? Who would you be if you didn't have roadblocks with your health? A nice clean breath. And see if there's any resistance to having what you want. For me, I can automatically think of when I got so sick, I couldn't work out anymore and I complained about it a lot. But then once I got enough energy to work out, I didn't want to work out. I really liked having an excuse to not work out. So I just had to ask myself, like, was I serious? Did I really miss it? Am I serious about wanting to work out and be able to move my body the way I used to? And I had to get real with that because there's a lot of responsibility that comes with the things that we want. Um, Can you handle that responsibility if you were to get what you wanted? Can you handle a life not being sick? Can you handle a life having energy? Can you handle a life where you feel worthy and deserving? Good. Awesome. That's awesome, Kate. Yeah, I had to create a scene or drama just in order for my parents to notice me. It's the case for a lot of people. I had a client last night who said she only ever got attention when she finally freaked out and yelled. She doesn't want to be that person. So notice that resistance. So I want you girls to really check in with that. We've got about 10 minutes. Check on that resistance. Okay, here I am standing in this thing that I said I wanted. I wanted to remove money blocks. I wanted to lose this weight. I wanted to feel healthy. I want to feel worthy. I want to feel deserving. I want to feel excited. I want to feel like my house is put back together, whatever this thing is. And I want you to notice any resistance or roadblocks and come to the side of your hand again. And if you don't feel any resistance or roadblocks, then great job. You just moved through something huge. And I'm excited to know how the next few days go for you. But if you have any resistance left at all, I want you to check on it. Check on this resistance. And I want you to really name it too. Like for me, for example, it was, I was a 2 times a day CrossFitter, lifted heavy weights. I had my most important mental and emotional breakthroughs while I was there. I connected with my husband there and I lost that. I hate it. And it was like, well, I want to do that again. I miss it. And I do miss it. And I would go back if I could. But I can't. And so I had to find things in between that weren't as fun, but I did have to get real and say, I do want to move my body. So I had that resistance there, right? Like, I don't want to move my body unless it's the way I want to move my body. I don't want to work out unless I can throw heavy things around. Walking's stupid. So I want you to just notice that resistance. If you got what you really wanted, what would it be? I wanted my energy back. What would it be? What's that resistance there? And take a nice breath. And you can repeat after me if you want to. I accept myself even with this resistance. This resistance has been stopping me. No wonder I didn't want to move forward. And even if I wanted to, maybe I couldn't. And I want you to really pull on any remaining resistance in your body. Feel it 0 to 10. Notice where you feel it in your body. Notice that resistance and feel it real big in your body. You can even make it bigger than it feels. Like, no, I could never have what I wanted. I can't ever actually get that because there is no way I want to stand up to the responsibilities. There's no way I want to have to work out again. There's no way. I wouldn't know what to spend all my time or money on if I didn't have this problem. And take another nice clean breath, just accepting that there's this conflict and resistance for some reason, just really showing up for yourself and tap on the inside of your eyebrow. And for the rest of our time here, I want you to really lean into that resistance and then toggle back and forth between that resistance and having what you want. You might even need to go back to another time when you were younger, that there's another event that felt similar and do the same thing you did last time. You can think of it as you just did the beginning of your work. And when we hang up here, the longer you have to sit with yourself afterwards, the better. You can do the bulk of your work. Outside your eye, checking on that resistance. What's this resistance all about? And just feeling that resistance will help break it up. And don't forget to breathe. And just remember, this is where you check on that heavy stuff. Don't be afraid of it. The results are going to fall on you the next few days. And you might have just gotten a lot of nuggets of things that you can tap on, things you could bring to me. If that resistance lightens up, that's amazing. It's not pretend. You'll notice that that resistance will be lighter in your life moving forward. But maybe there's another piece of resistance you can check on while you're here too. Or maybe you need to chase down that younger version of you or just look her in the eyes and tell her, like, I think we might be worthy of this. I think we might be deserving of this. I think it might be okay to want what we want. And I think stupid people and situations might try to get in the way of us for the rest of our lives. But I think we need to keep moving forward. I think we have purpose here. I think maybe it's the very passion and purpose that we have in us is exactly what something was trying to stop. And we just have to be bigger than that. Nice clean breath. Yeah. Sometimes I realize I need to get out of my own way. Yeah, it's usually yes, it's in our own way. Or often. Or we spend so much time trying to get other people out of our way that then we realize we're only left with ourselves. And then we have to like deal with the mess that we've made and get out of get out of our own way. By Kate. Thanks. Nice clean breath. Just keep your breath going. And maybe you can go back to that, whatever you walked in with today and see if that feels lighter, or maybe you have more clarity around it. Check on that imposter syndrome. Those of you working on imposters, actually all of you, like really, I really want to hear from you on that imposter syndrome because I don't think we've ever tapped on that here. I'd be really curious, later, reach out, let me know how that how that moved for you. And then over the next couple of weeks, how it continues to shift because it will. Like I got imposter syndrome with the podcast because I don't even watch podcasts. So I don't even know like how people do them. But I just wanted to do one. So then I did. And then I have listened to a few. I'm like, God, they're so professional. They have all these great questions they ask. And I'm like, am I supposed to do that? Like, I won't even do a podcast if I have to be organized and have questions laid out. So like I don't care if I'm not doing it like professional podcasters, because I'm not one. But I get really excited to have conversations with people and record them and share them. So that's what matters to me. And then if like five of you listen, then that's good. I'm not claiming to be a professional one, but I just do it because it's fun. So, and I think that's a lot of like too. Like, are you waiting for someone else's approval, or do you just need your own approval? Do you need to give yourself the okay to go ahead? Are you waiting for somebody else to approve it? Take a nice clean breath and blow it out. And if you're feeling stress or tension at like a 5 or higher, I want you to really stay here and sit with it when I sign off. This is a great time. Please hydrate. Please rest if you feel tired or fatigued. Most of you will actually just feel relaxed. The next 24 hours are going to be really important for your neural pathways to make some movement with what you just did because it was really big. You had a lot of stuff moving on around in the background. The next 4 days are really crucial for some people to just kind of keep noticing what you're noticing. Sometimes the like block has been let go of, but then the habits are still there. So check on your habits. Good, relaxed. Awesome. And it's a good time to ground. Um, you're like a sponge. So soak up something good. Um, just do the next best thing you can do for yourself. It's usually just lots of baby steps. And I do want to hear from you girls. I really love knowing, what you moved through, what helped. Maybe if you got stuck and need a little help moving through it, if you have questions. Mm. I'm really proud of you for showing up today because this is something that is on a lot of people's lists to do. And we all have a long list of things to do. And so I always try to remind myself, like my biggest hack for staying present is reminding myself that if I was doing something else right now, I'd want to be here. So if you have a lot of places you want to be, but you also wanted to be here, then just check off your list. You did it. You showed up. You did something you wanted to do. Okay. So thanks, girls. I love you.